All right, traders. Hey, welcome on back here this Monday afternoon, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. It is still February 2nd. Great to have all of us, though, back here inside our live trading room. Leda, Michael, Bill, Mark, Nabil, got Doug, got all of us just joining us here. Margaret, as always. Margaret, hope you're staying warm at least. Margaret's one of my, so to say, neighbors, down around Florida, area. So I hope everyone's at least staying warm. Certainly in the Northeast, around the Midwest, Mid-Atlantic, Mid-South. I'll tell you, even down here around the Florida Keys area, of course, Pinellas County down towards Tampa, where I'm at, Miami, met up with a student was on a call with a student earlier today that resides in Boca. Freezing down here. So hopefully it gets a little bit warmer all around. Great to have you, Dave, Sharon, all of us still here otherwise. Now, if you're joining us on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, etc., the internet streets, as I like to say, is down below. Make sure to hit the follow and subscribe button down there. Just our account at CyberTradingU, just all across social. Now, with that, we did just conduct our live workshop earlier today, Traders Talk, where we had the chance to go over a litany of different trades, questions, scenarios, and setups alike. This GameStop, I'm still riding out from 25 bucks. I took half my trade out in the morning, right around 25.50-ish. I'm going to ride the second half out, right? I mean, hey, it's proven so far to us that it's still making higher lows. If it's going to make a higher low, then you're saying there's a chance for it to make a higher high, right? Stock popped this morning. It's positive on the day. Not only that, but the fact that it's still making higher lows, there is a thought that the buyers are going to become even more in control of this trade than what they already are doing here. So let me just see what we got right now. I just want to double check, make sure my Benzinga's up and running here, my book map, rather, I should say. My book map's up and running because, from pre-market, 7 o'clock in the morning at least here, we ended up seeing this big 33,000 share sell order, grew up to be as much as 54, 55K. That's my target. That's essentially, one of my targets. But, going into our workshop that we conducted earlier today, we did talk about the thought of this potentially squeezing up. Went over all these levels here, and, we'll see what this does going into the afternoon. Let me just ask, though, if you're inside our live trading room, just want to ask, and I asked this just on a number of trades. As a trial member, you should not be trading just yet. Kind of put yourself more in the passenger seat. But to students like Michael, welcome on back, Michael, Leto, Dave, all of us here. Anyone jump in on the GameStop earlier today? Anyone riding this out with me here? GME? There's a bunch of other trades that did well, that still are doing okay. So, I didn't jump into the fuse. Right? I missed out on that pop. But if you had jumped in with us here on GameStop, right from 25, if not that, then certainly by the time it's trying to inch higher, there could be room for more. I'm going to put this on our list now either way. It's up over 5% at the highs. Spread's pretty tight. It's going to have some good icebergs like we just saw. Now, with all of that said, I don't like this company. I'm not a fan of them. I'm not a fan of the cult following that's on social media, especially on Twitter. They are huffing some serious drugs over the years because I don't think these people talk about anything else other than GameStop. All of the people that are on social media in this group talking about GME, listen, you got to find other trades. If it's not going to make that big move shortly after, there's going to be another stock making a big move shortly after that you're not seeing, let alone trading. So, at least for right now, it looks good on the 1-minute chart. It smells all right, actually. Spread's tight, looks good, icebergs. But if this fails to really make that extended move, then be prepared to see lower high, then maybe an eventual lower low. Then you'll have to react, right? All right, so GameStop doing pretty good. What else do we have here? At least from just before, we had Fuse. That was more from the morning session. What we'll just do right now is go right from top to bottom and build up our list across the gainers and losers side. But this Fuse trade still is on the gainers list, up 77%. It actually is trying to crawl back over the pre-market resistance that we had here. So is it possible that as long as it stays over this as support, that we have a chance for a new move? In theory, yes, but this is a low float stock already trading 170 million shares and counting, 71. So 19 million share float on 172 million shares, pretty much will round. We'll keep running this scan. This number is going to hit 172, right? So just to say, it's possible for this to make a push but it's very heavily traded already. For a stock that isn't trading that much compared to its float, I think there's a better chance. But right now, we'll come back to this trade by the end of this meeting. Let it prove itself. If it holds here, then maybe there's a shot. Bill did really well on this coal trade. He's still doing pretty good as far as I know. I think he's riding this out from the end of last week as a swing trade. So once it pushed up, testing that resistance 1950, took a few stabs at it, but it did a really good job flipping that into support. So Bill and I were talking about a couple of different targets on this trade. Great swing trade, at least from Friday, or at least otherwise from this morning. There could be room to see more. There is a gap here right around 27, 28. It could potentially fill. I wouldn't think about this yet. Let's not focus on this guy yet. Let's not focus on that gap. That's a ways away. But maybe this could be doable, right? It's possible this can try and get up towards 27, 28 as long as we keep seeing good trend. Just for right now, it looks like this thing just did dump back down a little bit, so it might be done for today. That's all right. We'll come back to it tomorrow, later this week. From like that 1920-ish area, you're doing pretty good. AQST, kind of another teaser like the fuse. It's building higher lows still, technically, but obviously it hasn't made higher highs. This, at least a lot higher of a float, larger gas tank if this really wants to push. But the trend's not as great recently. So if it pops during this meeting, I'll be there for it, but we'll pass on it as of now. Probably say that about a lot of different trades here, right? Probably say that on a bunch of different things. SNDK is at the high of the day. This is the ETF that goes with it. So, we're not really as keen to day trade those stocks, especially if they don't have good liquidity, if they have big spread, if they're just straight up untradeable. Seeing that posted in the chat, it doesn't help, newer traders out, let alone hey, if you're a returning student here, long-time trader, hey, if you're making great money, then you should know what to look for in a move. But you want to have less distractions, right? Overall, less distractions. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of trades here. Not even to call them distractions. I'll just say they're like ugly. A lot of trades that are just straight up ugly right now. Jern at the high of the day, but this thing's almost like too slow. This thing's almost like a sloth here. BTZZ, this is like the inverse tickers. Rocket Lab down today. The metals were up, the precious metal, rare earth stocks. So Amy at least was pushing up before. That was called out. USAR, that's not looking good. CRML, nope. TMC, nope. All right, out of all of these like rare earth, precious metal stocks, and I'd say the UAMI is looking the best this afternoon. We got one stock on our list, and it's GameStop. Are you kidding me? All right, we got to at least add something else here. So we'll go UAMI. Not like a giant fan of it. MSTZ going back up, which means MSTR dropping back down. SPY's at the high of the day. So, I don't think there's really much concern with the U.S. equities markets in particular. Bitcoin, different story. But, yeah, I'm not really a big fan of the MSTR trade as of now. AMD is like, kind of near the highs. There's that GameStop trade that we've been on top of since the morning. Got the airlines at the high of the day, at least there. Jeez. I'm trying to go through this gainer side here, folks. Not much I'm a giant fan of. Ondas, not terrible. I could see myself putting that on our list. JetBlue. So what, the airlines were doing all right. I saw that called out before also. AAL pulled back. UAL pulled back. So they were looking good until they weren't. So let's hop over to the loser side here, see if there's any good shorts. Shoot. Keyboard. There we go. All right, let's run this puppy. See what we got. ELPW down 91%. Oh, well, yeah, if that's where it closed on Friday, then that's not a surprise. That's crazy. All right, so cold up, boiled down. Not really too much to write home there, though. That's all right. Bunch of Bitcoin stuff. I told you to stay away from BMNR. This thing is getting killed. This thing is done on the historical chart. Tom Lee. That guy should be arrested. All right, what else we got here? Anything looking good, maybe? I mean, Hood's down with crypto. Yeah, Hood's a good short. Hood's a good stock to focus on at the low of the day, at least for right now. Good potential short. This thing fell off a cliff. Broke below support from there. Broke below big support roughly around here. It's tough to gauge that exactly, but more or less broke below both of those lines from the Friday close into right now. We said on Thursday Bitcoin was on life support. So not a surprise to see Hood this week. I got to add Robinhood right now just from the loser side. While I'm at it, Coinbase, it's actually pretty weak in terms of what it's already been doing, but it's probably squeezed back up from the morning session there. That Hood trade's done, though. That thing is looking really bad. BMNR, as we did say, it is shortable. All right, we'll go BMNR too. Why not, while we're at it? XPEV down there today. Circle was called out before. That's another crypto-related play, and that was one that had a great start off its IPO. But yeah, this is at all-time lows. This broke below the low there off its IPO day. Check that. That's a really good call from Rich. He had made that earlier today. So great heads up from him. Yeah, the CRCL trade going to add there. If you can't short that, I'd probably just, is there an inverse? I'd probably say if there's an inverse, do that. But I'll tell you, I mean, we don't really need to add too much more. We already got a decent list. We got a couple stocks at the highs, a couple stocks that are at the lows. Rocket Lab, pretty expensive. If you want to focus on something else, maybe I'll toss this on our list because I know the ETF, the inverse ETF, is like a cheap one. So if that goes down, then this at least will go up. I'll do that, and that might close it out there for us. All right. So if you're on social media, Facebook Live, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc., later as always on YouTube, one of our students simulcasting there. Appreciate you later as always. If there's anything else that you'd want me to check out, folks, just let me know here in the chat. From Uma TE. Yeah, that's been like a nice, fun stock to trade. Up and down, mainly up. Getting very hairy, though, looking at these like candles, wicks, everything else in between. So just realize that. I don't know if that's like the best play today. It's up over 8%, so that part I like. It's got a good spread. I like that too. If it could try and get back up towards 920s, 925, then I'd say, okay, there's like a better move on it. But, for right now, probably just focus on some other trades, Zuma, come back to it tomorrow. Definitely don't hate it. Just, I feel like that daily chart's getting a little wacky. So, see how that plays out. It's been a great trade, likely still going to be a good trade here and there. We'll have its days, but there might be some better movers right now. That's all. Oh, Intel. I mean, if we're looking at trades that might be better plays, I was going to say Intel before because this thing was like moving up perfect up to 50. Well, it pulled back down quite a bit, but it's still holding higher lows, right? Still holding higher lows from the major retracements that it's had today or points where it's built support. So for a stock that we are more familiar with, I wouldn't mind kind of just slipping an Intel on there, if anything, unless if there's another stock that's getting like halted right now out of nowhere. But I'll tell you, I think that might just about wrap it up now, folks. Got this stock, Hyper Liquid Per. I don't know why they call it Per, but the spread's tightening up a little bit, at least on this one. It was pretty wide a little while ago. I did find the stock before on my own doings, just before we started the meeting. Kind of a cheap stock, but it's near or at all-time highs. So that's kind of the selling point for right now. All right, I'll add this Per trade. Just Got to make sure the spread is pretty tight though here. Hopefully more people realize that about this trade and look to fill in the book. All right, folks. So, hey, best of luck trading going into the market close. If you're on social media, Facebook Live, etc., out there on YouTube, X, Instagram, Facebook, etc., at Cyber Trading You, just lower left. Make sure to hit the follow and subscribe button there. Otherwise, if you were looking to take the next steps, joining us directly inside our live trading room, you could certainly do that. Please do so, in fact, by going right down to the link scrolling on the bottom below. You'll see that they're popping up in just a moment. ctu.co/trial. But for all of our students there right now, Brad, Uma, Michael, Margaret, Leda, Iqbal, you got John here, you got Mark here, you got Doug here, full house. Hey, we'll be back on the mic in just a bit in about 15, 20 minutes and full hour-long commentary ahead here going into the closing bell. Talk to you all soon.